Hello everybody and welcome to a video on the Constructive Criticism YouTube channel. I'm Spencer, host of Constructive Criticism and Limited Time Only, two podcasts about getting better at Magic the Gathering. Today is our weekly deck tech. I have been so excited about doing a deck tech on this ever since one of these cards was spoiled. Today, we are doing a deck tech on Green Red Dinosaurs. So, Green Red Dinosaurs had a top 32 the first week Ixalan came out and was never seen from again on the SEG or GP circuit. But today, I think that the deck has gotten enough cards, and I think that the format is enough about Teamer Energy that I think that you can build this deck to have a reasonable Teamer Energy matchup and really be an aggressive mid-range deck that can compete in the meta. So let's talk about the cards that I have picked out for my first take at this deck. So the first thing we have that we are playing differently than the other version of this deck is I really think that Carnage Tyrant was a little bit overrated going into Ixalan. I think the card's fine. You want something in your 75, but I think that Burning Sun's Avatar being a 6/6 that comes down, affects the board, really is something that you need in the way that the standard environment shook out. And the triple red is completely manageable because of how we've built this deck. The 6/6 is huge against Teamer. They have to use a large chunk of their energy, and so many of their cards they'd have to use a large chunk of their energy against that it makes the top end being big worth more. Now, that being said, obviously they couldn't even touch Carnage Tyrant, but I think it coming down and killing maybe a Whirler or something like that, it's definitely worth it. And also being able to come down and maybe take out a Planeswalker in addition, just super powerful. Next up we have 3 Deathgorge Scavenger. To be honest, I wish that there was another 4-drop dinosaur that I really liked in this slot. Maybe I could play 2 of these in the main, 2 in the board. Just because of the way that the deck wants to curve out. But Deathgorge is a fine in addition to the deck. It helps you against aggro, it helps you against those graveyard decks. So it's completely reasonable, and I've been happy with it. Drover the Mighty is next. This card, huge part of the deck. It being able to tap for any color of mana. It's often a 3/3 in your deck, so it's just a 2-mana 3/3 that ramps you and really fixes your mana so that you can play things like Burning Sun's Avatar or Chandra, which we have 2 of in this main deck, which we'll get to. I think that this card is a huge part of the reason to play this deck, along with the other new ramp spell that the deck got. Being a rampy mid-range deck, being a little bit aggressive in those mid-range mirrors is really, really helpful. And also this deck puts a lot of power on the board for our next card, which is Primal Hunger. So this card is just a 12/12 trample for 12 mana, but its mana cost is decreased for the power you have in play. So really easy thing you can do. Turn 2, you play Drover the Mighty. Turn 3, maybe play a Ripjaw Raptor. You already have 7 power in play. That makes this card 5 mana. You can play this on curve following those 2 cards the next turn. So you can play this card on turn 4. Turn 4 at 12/12 in this deck. So people are saying they don't think this card's good. It's not good enough. It's just like a dumb creature. But, I mean, we saw what happened with things like Emrakul getting played really early, and I think this card is obviously nowhere close to that, but it's really hard to kill big creatures in this format. Harness Lightning is the best removal spell. They're not going to have enough energy to kill this on turn 4. The next thing that you have to worry about is Vraska's Contempt, so they can kill this on curve, but there's not really a way to kill this under curve, so a really powerful card. Next, we have one of Otepec Huntmaster. This card's fine. I could see myself cutting this card in some situations. I think that it's just good enough to have that 9th ramp spell. That having, one of this is totally fine. Being able to give your stuff haste, completely reasonable. But it does decrease the dinosaur count in your deck a little bit by just playing this card. So I could see a world in which you don't want any of them. We have 4 Regisaur Alpha. Everybody knows this card is good. Card comes in, gives you a 3/3 haster. It can also give you other creatures haste. This adds 7 power to the board for Primal Hunger. There's a lot of things going on here. Regisaur Alpha, easy inclusion in the deck. We do have the 4 Ripjaw Raptors. This card survives, battles with the good old Glorybringer and is able to attack pretty quickly into even board states with Bristling Hydra. And a lot of decks are even playing less Bristling Hydra than they used to, which makes this card even better. So pretty happy with Ripjaw Raptor overall. We have 3 Abrade as our instant speed red removal spell. I think that this deck wishes, like, if I could cut Otepec for something, it might just be this 4th Abrade, to be honest. It kind of depends on how the meta shakes out. I think that you're big enough and fast enough that mono red is going to be a good matchup for you, so I'm not too worried about it. But I can see a world in which you like need maybe 3 Abrade, 2 Magma Spray or something. So we do have the 2 Chandra Torch Defiance in the main. I think that this card being able to ramp you into Burning Sun's Avatar is super powerful. As well as just being doing the things that Chandra does. Chandra's been a staple of Standard since she was printed. Never been that 4 of outside of Green Red Marvel, but been a huge part of the metagame, and it's for good reason. She does a lot of things, drawing you extra cards, ramping you, dealing damage, and this is one of the few decks that I think can really take advantage of all of her modes, which is really where you want Chandra to be. We do have the 4 Commune with Dinosaurs, kind of giving us a way to cheat on lands and cheat on dinosaurs a little bit. We have the 4 Savage Stomps. This card has been really good. Ripjaw Raptor plus this is obviously insane. Being able to just 1 mana kill something of your opponent's, attack in, draw some cards with Ripjaw Raptor. Savage Stomp has been MVP in this deck. We have the newest card that I'm most excited to talk about, Thunderherd Migration. So as long as you reveal a dinosaur from your hand, this card is basically Rampant Growth. You just get to pay 2 mana, search your library for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield tapped. And Rampant Growth is one of the more powerful Magic cards. Being able to just go turn 2 this, either turn 3 Chandra or Ripjaw Raptor, turn 4, you get to play above curves. You play Chandra, you can play one of your 6 drops. If you play Ripjaw Raptor, you can still go ahead and play something like Regisaur Alpha early. Rampant Growth is not to be messed with, and it fixes your mana. It lets you play double red spells quickly. It lets you play, triple red spells in your deck. I'm really, really impressed with Thunderherd Migration, and I'm really excited to start testing with it. We have 23 lands in the deck, kind of cheating on 1 due to the Commune with the Dinosaurs and the Thunderherd Migrations. We have 9 forests, 6 mountains, 4 Rootbound Crag, and 4 Sheltered Thicket. Super easy mana base to remember, super easy to kind of play with, and you have just enough untapped green sources, just enough red sources that it really does all work out. Our sideboard does have those 2 Carnage Tyrants. This card's going to be good in multiple matchups, right? You can bring this in against Temur, you can bring this in against Control. Because of the way you ramp in this deck, you can put it out a little bit faster. We do have the last Deathgorge Scavenger to kind of help us against some of those aggro decks, as well as the graveyard decks. We have 3 Rampaging Ferocidons. I want to try this card against Temur. I'm not sure if this belongs in the sideboard or not, but it is a dinosaur that has a really powerful ability against a lot of decks, so we're going to try it out. I also really was impressed with this card. Thrashing Brontodon is a 3/4 for 3 that can be sacrificed to destroy an enchantment or an artifact. This is like one of the bigger styles of this card that I've seen in a long time, so I'm really excited to try this out as a sideboard card and see what it can do. We do have the 2 blasting cannons. I don't ever expect to flip this card. If I did, it'd be, it would involve probably a Savage Stomp and a Commune with Dinosaurs. But overall, I'm really excited to play with this card. I've qualified for a Pro Tour with other versions of this card, so pretty excited to get this card back into my sideboard. We do have that 4th Abrade in the board, as well as 3 Chandra's Defeats to try and help us out against those aggro decks, as well as 1 Scavenger Grounds. You might think that I'm a little bit light on stuff against Temur, but I actually think that the dinos are so big and so fast that you're actually advantaged a little bit against Temur. You do have those Carnage Tyrants. You can even board in those Vance's Blasting Cannons if you think you're going to be a little bit fast. Maybe some Chandra's Defeats depending on their build. But I do think that you're favored against that deck, so I'm excited to try out this mono red deck. I'll probably do another deck talk on it maybe in a month or so to give an update on how I'm building the deck, but I'm excited to try out some of these cards. I think that both the Primal Hunger guy and the Thunderherd Migration are both going to be really powerful, so we're excited to try it out. So thank you everybody for watching. Don't forget to go to patreon.com/EasyGameMedia to support my content directly. If you like limited time only or constructive criticism, they also have their own Patreons at CCMTG. That's CCMTG and LTOMTG. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys all next week.